You didn't restart this, so you've been talking for a little bit without recording yourself.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So as long, yeah, it's recording now, right?
Right.
All right. So here so we already covered most of this, right? The video was great. It's always good to listen to him because he's a multi-millionaire. So that's always good, a big positive. All right, so your sphere of influence, all the people who you know, trust, and may do business with you, you want to make a list. And here's some examples, right? This is typically how a real estate business grows. And there's other things you could do. If you're in a circle, some ideas, go after your neighbors if you live on the street, relatives, friends, immediate family, your spouse or partner if you have one and they're not selling your business, get rid of them. Just kidding. All right, and then it spins off. And that's where you go, who do you know? Give me 5 people. So a mechanic, a mail carrier. And then the other thing you could do is actually go after the people that you think would be great. So make a list. Like, I think a divorce attorney would be great for me. They could send me multiple business. And investors, an estate attorney. So you make your own list, and now when you call, you can say, hey, by the way, I'm looking for a mechanic that I can send business to. Who do you know? Who do you send business to? Who would you recommend? Then you call them, then you can connect with them. And always make it a win-win with business people. Like, I'm looking for somebody I could refer it to. In return, will you reciprocate and refer it to me? And that's how you can grow a business. Because if you got a couple of business people, they get it. They understand the conversation's usually not awkward at all because they're looking for referrals. They're looking to grow their business the same way. And you got a bunch of examples here, from insurance agents to real estate attorneys, etc. So that's what you want to look for. And here's the list that it continues. Example, they actually made the list for you. So you could actually start writing names in those lists, right? Like teachers at your kid's school. Who does your auto repair? And I heard one guy said, which is really cool, I loved, right? He said, look at everybody you're writing a check to, right? Like your mechanic, your accountant, etc. And next time you go have a conversation with, be like, hey, I've been doing business with you for a while. You get a lot of my business, and I love working with you. You're great. I refer you to anybody I know. I have a question for you. I'm in this do business. I sell real estate now. If you knew somebody that was buying or selling real estate, who would you recommend that they use? And they're either going to say one or two things. Well, congratulations, I would use you, right? And you're like, great. From time to time, I come across useful real estate information. Do you mind if I send it to you? And then you capture their information. That's the piece that most people don't do. What's your email? What's your address to send something to? What's the best phone number to reach you outside of work, okay? If they say no, my blank is into business, then you find another CPA, right? Because if they can't reciprocate to you, you go find somebody that can reciprocate with you. I mean, sometimes you love that person, you're not going to do that, but it's just a high level of thinking. Like, everybody that I do and give business to, I expect the same thing in return. And if you have a core group of people like that, your business is going to grow exponentially, right? Because if they can't refer you, they can't refer you. So that's it. That's definitely a good tip of advice. Time blocking, all right? This is super important. So who can you call? We didn't really cover this, but you can call expired listings. You could call for sale by owners. You could call your sphere of influence. Those referrals that Gary mentioned that he's going to get when he asks for 5 more people, you could call them, right? Open houses, if you do that, you can call those open houses leads. So you're going to have a big list of people you could call, right? Your goal should be as a new agent to have 20 conversations like this a day. So here's the action steps. You want a time block, because most people get in, they're ready to make calls, they go get coffee, they get distracted, they start preparing. Next thing you know, it's noon, they didn't make 1 phone call. So prepare a list ahead of time. So make a list of the people you're going to call, whether it's expires, for sale by owners, or your clients. They're big on affirmations, so say your affirmation and know your big why. Are you familiar with what those 2 things are? Okay, so like people are home, they're happy, and they want to list with me. That's a good affirmation. Your why is why are you doing this? I want to buy a house for my family. I want to pay for my kids' college. Whatever it may be, right? So know the reason why you're doing it. Practice the script. This is a huge one. You just heard Chris Heller rehearse it, and he said it perfectly. Did it sound like it was scripted, or did it sound like you were just talking to you on the phone?
It's natural.
Natural. That's how you want to sound? Here's the caveat. You have to practice those scripts. So like in your current business, you sound like a professional now, because those scripts are designed to produce a result. Like you could just go on a phone and just blabber whatever you want. But when people talk to a professional, they expect you to know what you're going to say. So know what you're going to say. Practice those scripts. Then take action. That's the biggest and most important point, right? Prospect and update that database. Remember, 3 reasons you're calling for, right? I'm looking for an appointment. If I can't get that, I'm looking for a referral. If I can't get that, can I add you to my database? Right? Appointment, referral, database. And we could role play this, it's pretty easy. So Gary, I just giving you a quick call because your friend told me you're looking to sell your house in May, and I just wanted to set up a time to meet. You can just tell me now.
Can we tell you no?
Yep.
No, I'm sorry, I think. I'm
Okay,
just
but
too
when are
busy.
you looking to sell?
Next couple months.
Okay, so you're probably a couple months out. When would you like me to follow up with you?
Well, call me next week.
All right, I'll give you a call next week. By the way, since I have you on the phone anyways, do you know anybody else that may be thinking about buying or selling real estate or that could help me in my business?
Nah.
Okay. Well, excellent. I don't mind. What I'd like to do is actually from time to time I send useful real estate information about the market. And because you're in the market and you're thinking about selling your home, I'd love to send that to you. Is that okay if I send that to you?
Sure.
And then I would just make sure I have your information.
Yeah, email her.
So every call, now you're going 3 deep, right? You're asking for the appointment. He's not ready to meet right now. It's okay. I'm asking for a referral. He may or may not give me one. Either one is okay. And then you're asking for all their information to add them to your database so you can follow up.
Yeah, and you're gonna follow up next week with a phone call.
And you're going to follow up. And I love this definition of a true lead. One of the points that we have is it has to be a seller-directed or a buyer, or you call it client-directed follow-up, meaning whenever they say to call them back, call them back.
Right, and you ask for a day and a time that's best.
And typically, if they're an expired or for sale by owner, the question is, like for a for sale by owner, it would be like, when do you plan on hiring another agent or interviewing agents for the job of selling their home? Or when do you plan on looking at other options? They may say a month. Cut that time in half, because typically situations change, and on average, I found that it's usually half the time they think. Because people don't realize how long it takes.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're taking actions. You're doing this right in front of your database. So you're updating their information, getting their emails, their addresses, all that stuff. Track the results. This is a big one. When I come to growing a team, I can't mention enough about tracking results. And all that means is this. Know how many contacts you're making. Know out of those contacts how many appointments you're setting. Out of those appointments you're setting, how many contracts are you getting actually signed, and how many of those contracts are reading the closings. Because if you know your numbers, like every professional business person should know their numbers. Because if you know your numbers and you're in coaching or you have somebody helping you, I could figure out exactly what you need to do better, Mark, to get a better result. So as an example, if you're talking to 20 people a day, you're setting 1 appointment a day, that's a really good ratio. I already know that because I've trained enough people to do that I know you're getting a great result. But now I see you going on 5 listing appointments a month, but you're only getting 1. So I know that we have an issue. And I could coach you on that issue because I know exactly what the problem is. So you either don't have a great listing presentation, you're not asking for the appointment, or you're not pre-qualifying. Like you're going to see a bunch of people that aren't really ready to sell. And if you know your numbers, you could look at that objectively and help yourself, or hire a coach and say, okay, this is what you need to do. Try this listing presentation on the next one. And now if you get your conversion from 1 out of 5 to 4 out of 5, you're doing the same amount of work and making a lot more money. So know your numbers. I can't say enough of that. It's super easy. Know how many contacts you're making. Out of those contacts, how many appointments you're getting. I would even track if you're getting referrals, because that counts for me, right? How many contracts are you signing? That's super important. And then how much of those contracts are leading to closings, right? Because not every buyer will close. Not every seller will sell. Some of them expire, change their mind, whatever. You want to know your ratios. Because if you're taking like 20 listings and only 5 of them are selling, you know there's an issue, right? You're overpricing them, or they're not motivated. So you want to know your numbers. That's super important. Schedule the commitments, so know when you're going to lead generate. Best time I've found for doing it years and years and years is 8 to noon. Even a better time than that is whenever you're going to do it consistently every day. So even if it's like 6 to 9, but you know every day at 6 to 9, that's how I work, you're going to do it, so just be consistent with it. And I can't say enough about this, write thank you notes. Show me a hand if you write thank you note in your current sales business.
Nope.
Okay. Have you ever wrote a thank you note? Personal handwritten. Show me a hand if you have.
Yeah, it's been a long time ago.
Have you ever gotten one?
Never.
Yes. So when you got one, how did it make you feel?
Good.
Good, right? So because there's so much clutter, there's so much email, blast, spam, When somebody takes the time to write a personal handwritten thank you note, the results you get are phenomenal. I had expired listings call me, and they get hundreds of mailers because I wrote them a handwritten thank you note. Like, you're the only one. It was different. People, you just thank them. Thank you for having coffee with me. Thank them right away. Thank them immediately. Thank you for sending me that referral, and do it consistently. Because if you continue to send out those thank you notes, it's just a little subtle, another touch point that shows them that you care, that builds that relationship. And I've literally gotten appointments from thank you notes. If you go on an appointment, you don't get the listing, and you're competing, you didn't sign the contract, thank you. Thank you for allowing me in your home and showing you what I can do to sell your home. Because if they're stuck and it's between two people, like, yeah, but this guy sent us a thank you note. He really appreciates it. They'll call you back. It's not going to work like that every time. I've been doing this for like over 8 years now. So I've gotten appointments from thank you notes. So you don't expect that every time. But what I'm saying is, I know if you do it consistently and you send 1 or 2 every single day, over a long period of time, you're going to have some cool stories to talk about it. All right, we could cut that video because we're going to watch one. So you can just press power button.
You talking to me now?
Yep.
That's the one on top, the on-off, right?
Yep, you could hit either one. It doesn't matter. But I would hit the red one.
Hit the red one.
Yep. All right.